I'm Manouk Akopyan. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you to our partners, personal injury attorney Nelson Gavorkian. Hi, everyone. I am joined by Billy White, Mike Tyson's trainer, longtime confidant, Cus D'Amato protege. Billy, you're days away from getting into the ring against Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, age of 58, fighting once again. Let's go into the details. How has training camp been going? Because it's the typical cliche question, but when you're talking about Mike Tyson at 58 years old, a lot of people are wondering, how's training been going?
Sure, and we understand that because, hey, every year somebody gets a little older. We don't go by that. Cus taught us that age is nothing but a number, and because of that, we're here today. All thanks to Cus and Camille. Quite frankly, we wouldn't be here without them. But I got to tell you, in training, in spots, I've seen Mike remind me of times when he was 20 and 25 doing the moves in the ring during sparring, which means over time that we've trained, and it's gone on for ages. We've been in camp for ages, damn near the whole year, at least back to March, April. Anyway, I'm just trying to explain to you, over the course of time, all the moves become second nature again, okay? And Mike has reminded me of times when he's 20, 25 years old, Manny. So right there, that makes him younger than Jake.
Absolutely. And you've overseen Mike's ascent through his younger days, and even most recently when he fought Roy Jones Jr. in an exhibition match in 2020. That was some 4 years ago. How is Mike doing physically? How is he holding up during training, during sparring, during some of the rigorous sessions that you and Rafael Cordero and the rest of the team have planned for him?
He's doing phenomenal. He's amazing. He's old school, new school combined. I don't think there's a fighter in the history of the sport that ever trained as hard as he does. He does 3, 4, and 5 workouts a day back when. Now we're concentrating on sparring. Cus always said it's all about the sparring. And here we are, getting the rounds in, getting the numbers in. And Cus gave us a saying by French psychologist Émile Coué back in the 1890s. When Cus was growing up as a little boy in the Bronx, it was a very popular saying, day by day in every way, I'm getting better and better. And all the years later, Cus handed that saying to us, along with the poem titled Don't Quit, Rudyard Kipling's poem If, titled If. And when all this is done, that's what I'm trying to get to here. You have to understand it's a long journey, and from, like I stated back in March, we had the ruptured spleen, the ulcer he had, and that delayed everything. But the Roy Jones fight got delayed the same amount of time. So, brush it off like dandruff on your shoulder and just keep trucking. And that's what Mike does. He's old school to the point where he's so determined. I don't think there's a fighter in the history of the sport that ever worked this hard. Granted, we didn't see all their workouts. There wasn't TV, but you know what I'm getting at. We have the new school equipment combined with the old school. And Cus always said boxing is 80% mental, 20% physical. And because of it, look, there's days you just have to take off for soreness, call it what you want. The fact of the matter is, rest is best.
How has Mike looked during sparring, Billy?
Mike looks phenomenal in sparring. To reiterate or repeat what I stated earlier, there's times in spots, and Cus would say that, in spots he looks phenomenal and he looks like he's doing the move damn near perfect. And, perfect speed is being there. But Mike gets there on all the moves, and it's amazing where he's at, where he's going. But yeah, he is actually in spots, in reference to the age. Again, everybody makes a big deal of the fact he's 58 years old. Cus said age is nothing but a number. And again, in spots, he reminds me of times when he was 20 and 25 years old with certain moves that he's doing. Because of it, that makes him younger than Jake, like I said earlier. So can't beat it.
With Jake, obviously he's younger. He has proven to have some big power. How are you guys also preparing for that? Just Jake kind of coming in as this freight train.
You say that. We say he's going to run like a thief. We hope he slugs it out with our slugger. Nobody in the world survives a slugging contest with Mike Tyson, quite frankly.
So you're thinking this could be a short night. These rounds are 2 minutes apiece. Mike is gonna. You think he's gonna go there for a quick KO?
Look, Jake's going to try to kill clock. That's the bottom line. That's his only hope. Stick and move and try to avoid the inevitable. But that's just it. It's the inevitable. It's coming. It doesn't matter what round it is, but it's coming. And again, 8th round, Mike will be as strong. He will be stronger than he was in the first and every other round. That's just how training has been going.
And this is, of course, a pro fight sanctioned as a professional fight. We'll go on their records. A lot of the backlash, per se, has been that people don't want Mike to get hurt. They don't want him to perhaps put himself in a danger where his health could be in question. What have you guys been talking about as far as quelling those concerns? Is that a concern overall with you guys?
Absolutely not. If he wasn't healthy, look, health is first. I'd be the first one to throw my arms around him and say, hey, let's walk off into the sunset, man. You got a beautiful wife. You got a beautiful family. And look, that's what this journey is about. That's where he's gone to, above and beyond. Cuss and Camille would be so proud of the fact he's such a great husband, great father. He's just a great dad. And to see that live, like I am, right in the corner, I got a front row seat, like Bob Uecker, just joking. But I'm explaining. I'm able to see firsthand. And then, you're hanging out at the house and he's with his kids. It's just a beautiful sight to see, So
It's obviously a big event, Cowboy Stadium on Netflix. There's going to be tens of millions of dollars to be made across both parties. But at the age of 58, when Mike has been retired for nearly 20 years, what is the primary motivational factor to test himself at this stage of his life?
He's always been that way. You tell him he can't do something, he's going to prove you wrong. The fact of the matter is, yes, it's history in the making with Netflix. On the 15th, you're going to have more viewers on a boxing match. It's going to be viewed more so than it ever has in the history of the sport. And it doesn't get better than that. And that's all because of Mike Tyson. So, his mass appeal after this is going to be just as big, if not bigger, than when it was in 1986, when he won the title, became the youngest heavyweight champ of all time, knocked out Trevor Berbick, just to remind everybody, in the second round, knocked him down 3 times with one left hook. And it would have been 4 if Mills Lane didn't catch Mr. Berbick, and hold him up. But yeah, what a sensational accomplishment. Youngest champion in the history of the sport. And he set a record that broke the record set by Floyd Patterson, Cuss's other fighter, back in the day, years ago, along with Jose Torres. Cuss had many champions.
Billy, thanks for switching things up. Looks like we got some better connection, a new background, but I'm sure the objective for you doesn't change, which is, of course, you're all in on getting Mike Tyson to November 15, fighting Jake Paul. Now, with this fight, how different has it been training for the Roy Jones fight, which was 4 years ago? How would you describe Mike's power, his determination, his enthusiasm, his energy?
Well, they say you never lose your power. And it's proof in the pudding when he hits the bag, when he's sparring. The sparring partners tell me he's hitting hard, and they're 18-ounce gloves. So when he hits Jake with 14-ounce, Jake's in trouble. But yes, Mike's determination and discipline and dedication is just unbelievable. He's again, he's the ultimate warrior. He's going to go down in history as one of the greatest warriors, not just in the boxing ring, but I mean of all time. He's studied the warriors. He knows every one of them, and it's just amazing his history. But that's what Cuss gave us. You know, we would study boxing films. If there was a Jeopardy boxing show or sports show with simply boxing, Mike, nobody else would ever get a chance to answer. Mike knows everything about boxing history. It's amazing.
You guys are training in Las Vegas. How has also the fact that he's been back home and in a comfortable setting, training in the Las Vegas Raiders facilities, how has that been sort of an advantage going into this?
Yes, in certain ways. At the same time, we're Florida boys now. We grew up in Catskill, New York. Here's to the Cats. Go Cats. Catskill is home sweet home. The gym is still open and up and running and operating. It's beautiful. But the fact is, yes, we actually live in Florida, but Mike has his home here. And Las Vegas is all about boxing. So here we are. Yeah, it's home sweet home here as well. It's been beautiful. Thanks to Mark Davis and all the way back to Al Davis. Mr. Al Davis was dear friends with Mike. They're both from Brownsville. You can't beat that. You know, Mr. Davis started the Raiders in 1960, and here we are all the years later. We're in their headquarters and training. They let us set up camp. They rolled out the silver and black carpet for us. It's amazing.
With you as his coach, along with Rafael Cordero for this fight, what have you been looking out for Jake Paul? What do you think he presents that is going to be perhaps some danger for Mike in this fight?
Well, Cuss taught us never underestimate an opponent, and we certainly don't. Again, all due respect to Jake, he's printing money, and he's doing something every man has always said they wanted to do by simply fighting. Mike, everybody says, "Oh, I'll take a punch from Mike Tyson for $2 million." No, you won't. Nobody's ever done it except obviously the fighters he's fought. But here, Jake, as a YouTuber, from a Disney kid, again, all due respect to him for stepping up. He's training every day. He's in the role as a fighter, a boxer, and he's very dangerous. Only 11 amateur fight. Only 11 pro fights, and that's his detriment. He doesn't have any amateur fights. I'll give you a great example. Bud Crawford recently fought Magnadov. Did I state that correctly?
Correct.
The name pronounced? Yes.
Madrimov, correct.
Yes. He had he also had 10 fights, okay? But he also had 300 plus amateur fights. Major difference, night and day. Jake has 0. So ultimately, that's going to be his downfall. He's going to wilt to the pressure, and nobody applies pressure in the boxing ring like Mike Tyson.
How would this fight have looked if Mike was fighting Jake while he was 27 years old?
You saw what Mike did, and I think it was his first 19 professional fights, first round knockouts. And you would have just added Jake to that list as well.
And what does the future look like for Mike? Is this going to be the last fight, or are you guys looking to see how he looks to perhaps turn to some other opponents as well, too?
Well, anything, the world is his and all that's in it, as Rudyard Kipling said in his poem titled If, which Cuss also handed us. He made us read The Art of War. He gave us the poem titled Don't Quit. These are amazing mantras and affirmations, as they call them now. And we meditated to that. He took us to hypnotists John Halpin in New York City, overlooking Central Park. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. You know, Cuss said boxing's 80% mental, and he was so right. And we follow that mantra, and here we are all these days. Again, the world is Mike's. He's going down in history as the greatest warrior, but the fact is, yes, he can walk into the sunset anytime he wants, and that's the beauty of it. And the journey has included, mind you, again, he's a great dad. He's seeing him as a great dad, seeing him as a great husband. It's amazing to me because here you have what Cuss and Camille would be most proud of that as well.
You talk about the journey, Billy. Let's talk about the journey you and Mike have. Where did it begin?
Custody Model Catskill Boxing Club, Catskill, New York. You know, Mike and I, just the other day, I joked with him. He said to somebody, he said, yeah, he goes, he's been telling me these things since I was 14. And I said, I thought you said 13, because his son Rocco is 13 years old. And he points to Rocco and says, we met when can you believe we met when Mike was Rocco's age? And it's another lifetime, but it's beautiful. That's where it started. All thanks to Custody Amato.
How have you been carrying the legacy of Cuss throughout the years when Mike was in his own lane and you were in yours?
You mean in reference to Catskill?
Yeah, and the gym.
Yeah, sure. Look, we saw guys come in. I was there 4 years before Mike, thanks to my brother. And we're here to this day, all because my brother was in a street fight. Go figure. In summer school in 1976, Cuss was in Montreal at the Olympics, one of the greatest boxing teams the United States ever had, 5 gold medalists, and we would have had 6. Mr. Charles Mooney, who in West Palm Beach, Florida, is training fighters to this day at Palm Beach Boxing Club. All thanks to them as well. That's home sweet home to us as well. Mr. Mooney got robbed in the finals, ended up with a silver medal. We would have had 6 gold medals. Point is, Cuss was there as an unofficial advisor to that team. Matt Baranski was there as an official advisor. They went together. Matt was one of the few that Cuss could trust in this game of boxing, in the game of life. And Cuss always said that boxing's life, life is boxing. But you take it all the way from Bobby Stewart, handing Mike to Mr. Matt Baranski, and they traveled down to Catskill, New York, to hand him over to Cuss. And here we are all the years later. After Cuss saw him spar the very first time, he said, you could be champion of the world. And, you know, of course Mike was like flabbergasted, but he made it happen. He made it come true. And that's the beauty of all this. Cuss, when I first walked in the gym in 76, there was a sign up in the gym that said, the word can't does not exist here. You can do anything you put your mind to. And that was Cuss's mantra, Cuss's philosophy, 80% mental. How beautiful.
Cuss passed away nearly 40 years ago. How do you think his spirit still lives with Mike today?
Whew. We talk about him every day. Every day. There isn't a day his name don't come up in the gym. You know, that's just, he's ingrained in us, you know. Mike has his PhD from Cuss, okay? It doesn't get better than that. He's just, again, he became, we go to Cuss and Camille's funeral gravesite every time we go home and visit, pour champagne over their stones in honor of them. Cuss loved champagne, always loved to celebrate victories with champagne. And so we poured a bottle of Dom Perignon over.
The good stuff.
The good stuff.
What do you think? How do you think Cuss would assess Mike as the 58-year-old Mike today? What would Cuss say about Mike?
You did it. He overcame every obstacle. He's a chameleon. He's a phoenix. He rises above the ashes. no matter what has ever happened to him in the game of life, he's overcome it. He overcomes every obstacle. And whew, what a great role model for determination and discipline and dedication and desire. He's all that and more. Amazing.
On November 15, what do you think a perfect night looks like?
Well, obviously, the perfect night would be what did Conor McGregor do? 13 seconds with
Jose Aldo?
Yes, Mr. Aldo. At the same time, I always say the mentality of what he did, what Mike did to Marvis Frazier, 30 seconds. Okay. Michael Spinks took 3 times as long, 91 seconds. Bottom line is, we have the Raiders mantra with us. Just win, baby. That's the bottom line. All thanks to, again, Mr. Al Davis, Mr. Mark Davis. All thanks to the Raiders. All thanks to Jerry Jones and the Cowboys for hosting this. It's going to be a beautiful night in Dallas. And let me tell you, Mike, again, will be as strong in the 8th round as he was in the 1st and every other round, if not stronger. And I believe he'll be stronger in the 8th than any other round. What's that tell you? He's trained very hard, and it's all come to fruition. A couple more weeks away from it. We wish it was last Saturday. We wish it's this Saturday, but it's coming. Can't control time. We have nothing but time, and here we are until we run out of it. But let me tell you, when we run out of time, he's going down in history as the greatest warrior of all time.
Billy, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for dealing with all these technical difficulties. I know it was a little bit of
Thank you, Manny. No, I'm sorry for them, but if I can add one thing, it's the fact that the great Muhammad Ali goes down in history as the greatest of all time. Mike has been called that, okay? There's very few guys who have ever been called that in any sport. You know, it's the old GOAT legacy. Mike is that and more, but Mr. Muhammad Ali handed that down, okay? He handed the torch to Mike, and he carries it with honor. He's he's beautiful with every fan that approaches. He's just become an amazing, he's always been a gentleman. And, you know, you're talking about how the media created a monster years ago. Granted, nobody's perfect. The next perfect guy they'll put on the other side of the cross. And, you know, that's just not for anyone. The fact of the matter is, Mike has overcome every obstacle. Mr. Ali handed the torch down, and he carries it into success, into history, you know.
So the lineal GOAT is Mike Tyson. Who would you say is the GOAT of today's heavyweight boxing? We obviously saw Alexander Usyk become the undisputed heavyweight champion, beating Tyson Fury. I'm very curious to understand your assessment of that first fight and how the second fight would look like.
For Fury and Usyk?
Yes.
Well, you saw Usyk for 8 rounds or so finally figure out Fury. He let him tire himself out. And I blame Fury for his own demise. He didn't get in good enough shape to overcome the will. And Cuss always said this: will overcome skill 9 times out of 10 unless the skill is so great. And Fury has the skill to be so great to overcome that will, but he didn't. Usyk had that will that overcame Fury. And it was truly amazing to see the fight change in the 8th, 9th round. It was unbelievable. But that is what determination is all about. And what a background, what an upbringing, and a wonderful man, Usyk, in and out of the ring. He's a world champion. How beautiful. And mind you, Mr. Fury as well. Tyson Fury is amazing. A gentle giant in and out of the ring. But yes, he was going down in the history. He had people believing in one of the greatest of all time as well. Usyk changed that. And I believe in the rematch, unless Fury gets in great shape, he's in trouble again.
In one of our conversations, Mike Tyson told me that Cus D'Amato growing up, when Tyson was growing up, said one day people are going to name their children after you. And here we are, Tyson Fury, being named after Mike Tyson, becoming the heavyweight champion of the world, and again trying to become a heavyweight champion of the world. Do you, your prediction in the sequel? Do you think Fury can make the adjustments required to beat Usyk, or does Usyk simply have Fury's number in this rivalry?
He doesn't have his number, but anything's possible. But Fury gets in shape. He's got the skill to overcome him. He's got the will to get up off that canvas like he did against Wilder. So never underestimate Tyson Fury whatsoever. Absolutely. But hey, what a fight it's going to be. It's Ali Frazier all over again. How beautiful to see it.
Yeah, and today, and we're nearing the
We need
50.
it.
Yeah, and when you're with Mike during training camp, does he say, you know what, I can take on the guys today? I could take on Fury. I could take on Usyk. Does he still have that competitive drive in him where he thinks that he's still insurmountable and the baddest man on the planet? Is that demeanor still there for him?
Well, that's exactly what he is. And when he trains, you see that. He's exactly that, the baddest man on the planet. And there's 25, 30-year-old heavyweights now that I just shake my head at. They don't work anywhere near as hard as him. Our beloved sport deserves better. And we need more champions like Usyk and Fury. And yeah, I believe on any given day, look, if it's what Cuss said, you put your mind to it, you can achieve and accomplish anything you put your mind to. And that's what Mike's been all about his whole career. So however he walks into the sunset is his, again, the world is his and all that's in it, as Rudyard Kipling said.
And Billy, how do you think Tyson would have fared in today's heavyweight division, where it seems like everyone is beatable on any given night?
Mike would be at the top of the ranks. He could be the youngest champion and the oldest champion. Again, all he has to do is put his mind to it. It's that simple. But it's hard work, naturally, as you well know. Our sport, you have to train like you've never trained before. And that's what it's all about. Training sessions, training camps, 6 to 8 weeks. Sometimes a little longer, some have a little less. Wilfred Benitez like to train 2-3 weeks. Youngest champion ever. I'm just trying to explain to you, training camp has been long, and it's just come time to fight. We're ready to fight. Mike will be there. Jake said he's going to put Mike to sleep, and the bottom line is, we just hope Jake shows up.
Can't wait for it. November 15, Dallas Cowboys Stadium on Netflix. The world will be watching. Billy, thank you very much for being gracious of your time and sharing some of the stories and anecdotes, not only from camp, but from yesteryear as well. Good luck to you guys throughout the rest of training camp, and always a pleasure catching up. And we'll be sure to catch up after the fight as well.
Honor and pleasure, Manny. Thank you.